Alright, using the spindle sander. Obviously, with any of our tools, we are going to put on our safety glasses. And just like the disc sander, we want to plan out our movements, and we want to maintain that 3-inch spacing between the spindle and our body parts. So we're going to figure out how we can sand this piece. What I have here is a CO2 car. I've cut out some nice curves on the side and the top profile. They're pretty rough just because I cut them with the bandsaw, so we're going to sand them down, make them a little bit smoother. Just like the disc sander, we want to make sure that we maintain contact with the work table at all times. We don't want to lift it up. Even though the spindle sander is not going to pull it down, or it's not going to pick it up off the work table, it's still good practice to hold it down on the work table. It's going to give you the best control over the material, and that's what's going to make you the most safest. So I'm going to plan out how I'm going to move my hands, and what I want to do is kind of move the material back and forth a little bit. That way I'm not focusing all of the friction and all of the heat in one spot. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the top curve. Nice and gentle. We're not applying too much pressure into this. We don't want to force the material into it because we could damage the spindle, we could damage the actual sander itself. I would have the dust collection system on because just like the disc sander, this is going to produce a lot of dust. So we're going to make sure that the dust collection system is on before we start, and we're going to make sure that we practice turning the machine on and off with both hands. That way, if there is an emergency, we can turn it off as quickly as possible. Choosing a throat plate, we want to make sure that we have something that fits over the top of our spindle but is not too big. If I use the largest throat plate for our larger spindles, I can actually get my fingers down in here, and that's no good. We want to use the smallest throat plate we can for that spindle, which is why this one is appropriate. We want the smallest gap in between the spindle and the throat plate.